gripping the football. Are you a 2 and 5 guy? Do you even pay attention to that? Like you put your pinky here. Let me see. Can you just grip it for us?
Yes, I don't know what I do.
Yeah, good. That's how you know you're a baller, is and you don't even know. He just grabs it.
I have no idea.
But yeah, you're a 2 and 5 guy.
All right, yeah.
That's just like me.
Oh, yeah, that's it. That's my buddy, Ben Roethlisberger. The guy, like, I wish I could have had that frame of mind as a quarterback, right? You know, that's part of his greatness. You know, it is. The fact that he could kind of just go out and play and not worry about it. 2 and 5 grip, like I told you, that's how I gripped it, as you heard there, right? Old days, traditional, like old school grip. You used to see this more than you do now. And of course, we're going to get into that later with our favorite grips and all of that. But yeah, Big Ben, will give me a chuckle forever. The fact that he was like, I don't really know how. Oh, well, damn, I guess this is how I do it. Oh, I never thought about this, right?
That was the moment right there where Ben Roethlisberger realized that there are other grips. It was like, I just thought that's the way you gripped. I didn't know there was any talk about it.
I grip it. I throw it great. What's the problem?
People do it differently than that? I thought there was one way.
I will always say this. I got, flack about it at times with Ben Roethlisberger through my career, early on in my media career, right? In the pantheon of all-time great quarterbacks, and I think we had a few discussions with people here on our podcast and listeners and all that. I think Ben Roethlisberger is way better than people give him credit for in the pantheon, right? He got stuck in a generation of exploding offenses and some special quarterbacks that I think take away his luster, right? Peyton Manning, Tom Brady, Brett Favre. He was sandwiched between like all of them, Aaron Rodgers. So there he was in the prime of his career, kind of awesome, right? And like the baton kind of was like, oh, I think it's going Roethlisberger's way. And then all of a sudden Aaron Rodgers came in and was like, whoa, okay, Aaron Rodgers is the guy,
that's
right?
Interesting.
Roethlisberger's up there again, of course, too. But yeah, I mean, you talk about when you break down top 40 quarterbacks, things like that, making plays that aren't there to be had, doing more than what's available on the field, right? Ben Roethlisberger was a master at that.
Yeah.
I mean, a master, right? And yeah, he might have not, had Peyton Manning's checks at the line of scrimmage and all that type of stuff, right? That's not what he was. He was a little bit like, hey, just let me go play. Don't make this too complicated on me. I've always been able to find the open guy and get us in the end zone. And damn, he went to 3 Super Bowls, had a phenomenal career. And I do feel like he gets lost in the shuffle a little bit sometimes with the all-time greats.
The big thing with quarterbacks now is making something out of nothing and keeping plays alive. And oftentimes quarterbacks now, and we got a couple in our rundown that we'll talk about today, keep plays alive with their legs, running around, their speed. He just kept plays alive by standing there and people like shrugging people off of him.
Yeah, standing there or like just like with his little Fred Flintstone steps running around the pocket, right?
Yeah.
That was what was amazing. And I still remember, this is the 2008 season, right? That was the New York Jets, and you'll kind of remember this. I know you were paying attention. The Jets that year, right? It was Mark Sanchez's rookie year. We went into Indianapolis and beat Peyton Manning because we had this great Rex Ryan defense, right? And Darrelle Revis and all these studs, right? Yeah. Then they went to New England and upset Tom Brady, right? And then it was like, well, damn, it's Pittsburgh. I mean, they should be able to upset Ben Roethlisberger. And I can still remember after the game, like Rex was just like, we couldn't stop Big Ben in any of the big moments of the football game. And that was because of the things you talked about. That's where, like, the Jets and all their creative defenses and their blitz and all that, right, where they might have sacked Manning or Brady or whatever, Ben would get out of it, make a throw, and do the stuff and stuff like that just like maybe not valued in the stat sheet or the quarterback rating, where you go, no, those little things help them win that big playoff football game where this defense, had squashed a few other greats here.
I do remember that.
Yeah, I know
it was
you do.
actually 2010.
Oh, that was 2010. Oh, yeah, you're right. It was 2010.
And I know that because I am a football historian, and I pride myself on that. And also because Pete told me in my ear. But
right. I was saying, I was like, wait, 8 doesn't sound right, because I was like, I don't think Sanchez was in the league 8, right? So that was that, right? So it's 9 and 10 with Sanchez and Rex Ryan going back-to-back AFC championships.
Yeah.
9 they lost to the Colts. 10 they lost to the Steelers and Pittsburgh.
You know what? No big deal. You make mistakes sometimes, but guess what? You don't make mistakes with your top 40 quarterback list.
Never flawless.
This is if people try to debate with you, they just lose immediately because we know this is set in stone right now. Even though you do change guys around at times as we get closer to the day,
we do,
and you did that again here today.
I did.
Nothing with what we've done so far, but with the guys we're about to talk about today, they have moved a little.
They have. Well, I'm actually kind of liking this, and we're peeling back the curtain.
Mm-hmm.
And you could speak to this in previous years. right? I might have moved a guy around here and there every minute. I got to the night before and been like, move this one guy. And okay, and I did that a little bit. This year, I have taken a hair of a different approach of like, all right, wait, I feel good that I got them all in the right area, right? And I of course, think I'm good. But then I'm like, we got done with the pod on Monday. Monday afternoon, I watched a little bit. Tuesday, as I was texting you guys a little yesterday and doing that, watching it again, right? And when it comes to like, okay, now you got to make the decision. It's time to put yourself out there, and we're going to put graphics out there with NBC Sports and Peacock and everything right there, right? And then getting that last look, yeah, there is something to it that I actually like. It kind of like puts me under the pressure and the moment to go, wait, hold on. You made this list a week ago, and I think you like let public perception or my own like, oh, I'm too hard on this guy, I'm gonna put him here and let that. And when it gets down to it, and I go, wait, who do I want? Who do I want right here? It's these 5 guys. I got to play tomorrow. Which one do I take? And that almost has helped to clear it out. I think we're going to have a better list because of it, honestly.
Yeah, you have pods of players, and I think that's interesting to talk about because it just shows how much I came in here about a half hour before the pod, and you're still looking at tape of some of these guys, trying to figure out, do I want to stand behind him as the 34th best quarterback in the NFL
exactly
right now?
Well, yeah, and exactly. And then, of course, just a quick little refresher as we watch tape before I go out. I just write a few more bullet notes, bullet points a little bit, just to go, wait, oh, yeah, right, don't forget that. And just keeps it fresh in my mind there. Yep. So, we got off to a good start on Monday, and this will be an interesting tier right here. And as we talk about recently, listen, it's damn, there's some good quarterbacks, damn, there's some good backups, and damn, there's some guys here too that are backups where I just go, man, they need the right chance, and they'll be a starter at some point if they could just get it to fall the right way for them. And that's what's tough about this group through here.
Yeah, by the numbers where we are right now, we're going to go through 35 to 31. These are the backups, high-end backups, with maybe borderline starters, maybe guys with some potential. Here are the guys that we've already done. With Stidham was 40, and we went all the way through Jacoby Brissett and the throwbacks with Joe Flacco last pod. If you missed that podcast, go back and listen to it or watch it right here on YouTube or Peacock. No matter where you're watching it, as we have learned, we're everywhere. You can watch us, you can listen to us however you want to consume the top 40 quarterback list. So let's get into it. 35 through 31. That means we start with 35 in your top 40 quarterback list in 2024. Your 35th best quarterback is?
Yep, and a guy we probably could have lumped together with those, the old quarterbacks we ended off with on Monday afternoon, but it is Jameis Winston. Right? We start number 35. Yeah, he's in Cleveland. He's behind Deshaun Watson. He's a little bit Joe Flacco-ish, right? To where, yes, hey, if he has to come in, he could open up some eyes and make some big plays and do that, right? Arguably, here's what I would say. My headline would be arguably the best big play backup quarterback in the NFL. That's what I would say. When he comes into a game, I mean, he's going to stand in the pocket. He is not going to flinch at all, and he is always looking to push the ball down the field, right? Always looking always looking for the big play. Always, sometimes when I got on some of the other guys on the list the other day where, hey, take an extra pat. That guy's about to come open. You're protected. Like, it's a 20-yard in cut. Let's hit it, and then maybe it becomes 40 yards, right? He always gives it a chance. Now, that's also his flaw to a degree, all right? That's the negative, is sometimes it's like, okay, wait, no, I know you think it's about to come open, but this is the third pat. You got to let it go. You're going to get sacked. You're going to get stripped. Right? That's the issues with him. And then at times, like, again, too, what I love is aggressive frame of mind and, he just his aggressive nature altogether. But, yeah, there's also a handful of throws that you could take from last year, the preseason, whatever, and just go, what? Did you really think you were going to fit that in there? Like, what the hell are you thinking, right? He's got a little of that aspect, too. If you took his positive plays and the positive, and you heard this on text yesterday when I was kind of going back and forth with you, right, and you just looked at positive for the most part, you'd go, damn, this guy's he's a pretty big-time starting quarterback in the NFL. But he has a little bit of I just don't give a about him that you cannot trust. And that's the bottom line. I mean, you watch the game sometimes and you just go, he's just coming in and having fun, and he doesn't care. I don't think he even cares. He's going, I'm going to throw a big completion or I'm going to throw an interception, but I'm going to have fun out here. I mean, it really feels that way at times. And because of that frame of mind, it probably knocked him down a few spots because you heard me in the text yesterday. To me, it's more about trust with Jameis. And as much as I would rather call the offense for Jameis maybe than some of the other guys we have in front of him here, right? Because I'd go, this is my kind of offense. This is what I want to do. We're going to protect him. He'll throw the ball down the field. He'll do all that.
You have everything available
right.
to you.
But also within that offense, I go, well, damn, he might throw 6 interceptions today if we don't call the game the right way and protect him from himself a little bit. So those are kind of the pluses and negatives of Jameis Winston. But yeah, the guy has talent. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah, Pete has put narratives in here for all the quarterbacks that we'll talk about in your top 40 list, and I think this one is spot on. The narrative around him is he's the 30-30 man. It could be 30 touchdowns, could be 30 interceptions. YOLO, you only live once. That's basically what Jameis is.
Right.
So, the way you described him is somewhat similar to the way that you could describe Joe Flacco, and that you did describe him last year, and he was the backup in Cleveland. I know there are probably Browns fans that are thinking, hey, what did we do? You had Flacco at 37. Now you have Jameis at 35. Not a whole lot between them. We've seen Flacco step in and be able to carry that team to the playoffs.
That's right. I don't doubt that this could do this, and it could be better than Joe Flacco.
So that would be the question, right? You still, if you're the Cleveland Browns, you would take, even if it's a small upgrade, you would take this upgrade from Joe Flacco to Jameis Winston.
Well, I think it's not only the small upgrade, but I think it's the other things and the context around the situation why they went there too, right? Right, it's like Joe Flacco, hey, he won a Super Bowl, and that fan base latched onto him a little bit.
Definitely.
And I think that was a little scary for them, right? Like I talked about. I asked them this question at the Combine. Are you kind of glad you don't have to deal with the Flacco thing, right? Because, like, if we got to, like, week 3 and they were 1-2 and Deshaun isn't playing good, Flacco. I mean, they were chanting that at the end of the year last year. Right, so that's what
I think. Did they give you an answer?
Well, I think they tried to act like that didn't matter, right? Which I don't buy, and I think that's part of the reason they let Joe Flacco go, because they don't need that headache around Deshaun Watson in their quarterback room. Everyone views Jameis Winston as a backup, but I can tell you from coaches who have watched him in free agency and stuff the last few years, people always come away amazed with Jameis Winston going, damn, he's good. Damn, I think I can fix some of those issues. And I just don't know if you can fix them all the way, right? Sean Payton definitely fixed them to a degree and reined them in about as good as anybody that can rein them in. That'll be, something that you'll have to worry about with him in Cleveland too, and Kevin Stefanski will have to rein him in as well.
Reining him in at the end of a game when you're setting up to take a knee. I looked back on that just because I'm so fascinated by that play. It really was. Like I was like, okay, let me make sure I can wrap my head around what happened here. Jamal Williams was on the team, 17 touchdowns the year before. Had not had a touchdown the entire year. And so you get to the last minute of this game, which, by the way, was set up by an interception. Tyrann Mathieu had like a 74-yard interception return down to the 1-yard line when they're already winning 41-17. It was Chris Lindstrom from the Falcons who ran him down somehow and messed him up enough to where he fell down at the 1-yard line.
Right.
And then so there's a minute left, and Jameis was like, we're going to get Jamal Williams his 1 touchdown this year because he had 17 last year. The man has to end at least with 1.
Right.
That was fascinating to me, and that's probably why he's not back in New Orleans right now.
It caused some problems for Dennis Allen with Arthur Smith after the game, and him having to answer questions there, right? It's not good for Jameis in the fact of, his own coaches were like, damn, I don't like that, and you're going to feel like you have no control over him. Yeah. Those are kind of things other than the locker room, I bet you they were loving him after the game. Like, Jameis, you're the man for doing that for Jamal or doing that, right? That will get you some street cred in that department, but I think it goes a little into the, how much can you trust Jameis altogether category. I'm not trying to be a jerk by that. That's the perception. The perception is the reality in the NFL of what's thought about him, in that way. And, I will say this too, right? He's a solid athlete, but for 2024 quarterbacks, he's about average for the NFL quarterback of this day and age, right? He has a strong arm. It's not a wow arm. He's not a great spiral thrower. He does have a long windup, right? I mean, if you think of Jameis Winston, it's a windmill type of release and throw, right? And because of that and all the moving parts, he can lose control of the ball just a hair at times, right? But I will say that offense didn't fit him either. He's not made for West Coast Derek Carr dink and dunk. That's not what he is, right? He is hey, Let him drop back. Let the field open up. He'll make big throws down the field and do that. You want more of that than, quick throw, right on target, precision, right? He's not that because of that long release and the space he needs there. But Jameis Winston's still dangerous, and I wouldn't be shocked if Deshaun Watson got hurt, which is, him staying on the field's a big question. Can he get some mojo going with that Browns football team and win some football games? I don't think there's any doubt he can.
Yeah, the Browns have said that they are open to carrying 3 quarterbacks, which all teams do with an emergency quarterback, but I guess that means maybe just 3 on the
active roster. Yeah,
so they got Tyler Huntley there now. They got
DTR
Dorian
still.
Thompson Robinson there still.
Right.
So they do have some quarterback talent.
They do. And, I don't know how that goes there. They stash Tyler Huntley away on the practice squad, right? Because Dorian Thompson Robinson, I'd be afraid with that guy, young guy, got some talent. I do think has some pedigree. If you cut him and he has that 24-hour, window where – he's free and out there, somebody might look at it and go, hey, we'll put you on our third guy on the roster all the time, right? And then he's going to be gone. So I'll be interested to see how they juggle that situation there.
All right, the Cleveland Browns, 35th best quarterback in Jameis Winston, his 10th year in the league upcoming, second year in the league upcoming for your number 34 ranked quarterback this year.
Yeah, and one of the toughest ones of the whole group here, but we're going Bryce Young, Carolina Panthers here for number 34, okay? And Bryce Young, I know it was a rough year, and there was a lot of things that worked against him. There's no doubt about it, right? The things I like about Bryce Young, hey, he's a guy with great natural feel for the quarterback position. He really is, and I mean that in all aspects, right? He sees the field pretty well. He moves in the pocket the appropriate way, right? He finds little lanes and things to step into, right? He's got very good anticipation, okay? He's a pretty good short game thrower. He's got a lot of different little quick, slick releases that he can get the ball to in screens, slants, whatever else, right? Those are all the positives for Bryce Young, right? But, of course, there's things that need to be worked on and things that I need to see before I can, put him any higher. There's things here that I question that I just don't know if I can get behind yet to go, yeah, he's in the 20s here or anything like that, right? The big thing is there's just too many games and plays as you watch of him just being overwhelmed in the game, and that scares me. And what I mean by overwhelmed in the game is just physically overwhelmed because of the size at times and having to rush throws or decisions because, I'm going to get hit, or not being able to make throws or decisions because the pocket's collapsing. And now I'm going to move around where I'm going, well, some of the guys we're going to just talk about, or Jameis Winston, would have just kind of stood there and been like, wait, I'm going to stand tall and, yep, I'm going to make this throw and get hit, and so be it, right? Those are the things that are an issue with Bryce Young. Wow releases, not a wow arm. That's what we said during the draft. I told you a little while ago, another negative would be, hey, in elements, like a Tua, I'm concerned about him. When it gets a little windy, it gets a little wet, he does not control the ball the way you would like. And, of course, you know me, I'm very into, hey, big play football, power throws. That's one thing that becomes apparent as I go through this exercise every year. As I work the way up the list, I go, the good ones make a lot of wow plays and throws. The ones down in this area make the throws you're kind of supposed to make, but never make the wow throws or miss way too many of them, right? Where you go, hey, this is a big play. I know he's not wide open, but this guy's going to get it in there, and it's going to be a big play, and there's just none of that at times. So all of those things I worry about him with a little bit there. And because of that size, right, it is a real issue. It's not only, hey, I'm smaller and I can't see and necessarily throw the ball the way I want over the middle with people in my face. Like I told you before, the thing that I think bothers me more than anything is in the pocket, guys about to be open, right? Stand in there, boom, I'm going to throw it, and I know I'm about to get crushed in the chest, right? And this isn't because he's like a coward or not tough, because I think he is tough, right? But he has to play a certain way because of his size. And because of that, those plays or those throws, they can be off target, or he goes, oh, wait, I can't wait for it because I'm going to get lambasted as I throw it, and I need to just throw something short and get it out of my hand. Where I go, man, most of the starting quarterbacks, they stand in there, they throw it, and they go, boom, I'm going to take the hit, but boom, I threw the 15-yard out route, and we got the first down, right?
Yeah.
His is either, wait, let me get out or get the ball out of my hand, or let me just kind of throw it to an area and hope it gets there, and I need to protect myself before he gets hit. And there is so many plays in the offense that are missed because of that throughout the year because of Bryce Young.
So the narrative, I think, with him, unfortunately, would be after that rookie year that he is already a bust.
I don't want to go there.
Would you go that far?
No, I don't. I don't want to go there. He's not a bust, right? That's not that. Now, do I think he was worth the number 1 pick? I don't think that, certainly. And I, as we said many times during the process, I mean, listen, I'm old school. I'm from, Phil Simms, Jim Kelly, Troy Aikman, John Elway quarterbacks, right? So I'm a little bit in I don't know if I would ever have a quarterback his size on my team. That would never happen. I just don't believe that can translate to the NFL. You got to kind of show me to believe it. Now,
unless they were like Kyler Murray.
Well, unless they have some other elite traits that can make up for those issues we're talking about, right? Now, he's a good runner, but he ain't a great runner. It's not that, right? And his arm is not as strong as Kyler Murray's either. It's not in the same category there. So, yeah, there's a difference there. And that's where you can kind of live with Kyler Murray because you're going, oh, yeah, he's smaller. Oh, that's right, but he's the fastest guy on the team. Oh, okay, that's changed. Oh, he's smaller. Oh, that's right, because he's got one of the stronger arms in the NFL. So you can deal with that because there's things that can, overcome the size and everything else there. Here's, the question. But I don't think it's a bust. I don't think it's that. I think the kid is smart and knows how to play and will take coaching and all of that, right? And that's some of the problems I was having with his ranking because I was kind of trying to project it and, maybe give him a little too much growth just off of projection. And I got to see it a little bit first. But I think the big thing is here, and what I like, is Carolina's doing the right things to bring him along the right way this time around.
They're putting a team around him. Trying to.
Big offensive line in front of him. Got to happen. It's got to happen. And big interior offensive line because he can't have people in his face. That's not what he's about. He's not going to be that type of quarterback. So I like that. And did you hear Dave Canales last week? Mm-mm. I mean, they want to run the ball. They're going to run the ball and run the ball and run the ball. And then it's going to be a play action. And then it's going to be a boot. And then they're going to run the ball. And they're going to run the ball. And he's going to throw a screen. And they're going to bring him along that way. And then they'll start to go, okay, he's comfortable. And now, hey, we can spread the field. He knows where to get the ball out hot. And he knows the right checks to get to if he's going to get a blitz and pressure, and that's going to make him look like one of those bad plays we don't like. He'll get to another play, so we don't have to look at that Bryce Young, right? So that's where I think Bryce Young can improve and excel, and I would be shocked if he doesn't, right? He's got great anticipation throwing the football. He really does. But at the same time, like I told you before the pod, too, there's times where, hey, anticipation. You can't do it here, right? Trayvon Diggs is bumping your receiver as he's going down the field and he's about to make a break. You don't know exactly the angle he's going to come out, so you can't anticipate and go, let me just loft it up there into this area, right? Like most quarterbacks in football would go, okay, wait, he's getting bumped. Let me see him come out of his break a little bit. Shoo! Oh, first down, right? You can't always anticipate. That's not going to be the case. So there's that, right? And yeah, those are just the things he's going to have to continue to work on, throwing with trash around him and all of that. But there is positives. And I do think he's smart and he has a natural feel for the position, but he's going to learn how to play within the physical elements of the game a little bit and raise his game that way and have a little bit more gusto to throw the ball into some tight windows a little bit. And that to me is the next step for Bryce Young.
Well, let me give some of the good for Bryce Young. You did a little bit there too, but there were some concerns whether he could stay healthy for an entire season. And he did miss one game, but it was only one early in the season. Week 3 versus Seattle. He had an ankle injury, but played 16 games right there. He completed 60% of his passes, which is not bad. He did throw 10 interceptions. He only had 12 his entire Alabama career.
Yeah.
He had 10 interceptions his first year, but it was only 6 of the 16 games. In 10 of the games, he didn't throw an interception at all, so he was able to protect the ball there. Right. He had a big game against Green Bay, 312 yards, couple touchdowns, no picks in that game.
Yep,
so
that was the game.
We have seen
of
it.
the year.
When you saw that, when you watched that game, what'd you notice?
Well, I think, it was a part of the year, if you kind of remember back at the time, right, where like Green Bay's defense was a little bit all over the place, right? And people were calling for Joe Barry's head and stuff like that. So there was some people, wide open on the football field, right? But again, like plays there to be had and you protect him, he can make it happen that way. The question of him is whether just, hey, the game's not perfect. It's an ugly game. What are you going to do there? And what was scary last year is they were in games like that and they had to manage him to such an extent they couldn't even attack on offense, right? I think that's what stinks. This was a game where, they were capable of attacking. And, like I said, again, too, like zone coverages, there's a few holes. You got a little protection. He can drop the ball and put it over a linebacker's head and I'm moving and sidearm it and do all that. When the game's wide open and clean in that way, right, he can look cool and effective. But again, they're not that good enough to be playing that way and doing that yet, and I don't know if he's going to be able to do that, in the NFL on a consistent basis.
Yeah, last year he was one of 6 quarterbacks to throw 500 or more passes in a season and average just 5.5 yards per attempt or worse. And so that's partly Bryce, but that's partly that situation, as you mentioned, that he was in last year.
And probably part of what you're saying, too. I'm trying to keep healthy and trying to stay that and debunk that narrative.
Yep.
I think all of that kind of probably played into the season we saw there.
So this is all time. You can see Derek Carr in 2014 happened to him as well. These are what you're noticing here. These are all pretty bad teams. These are all very, very bad teams with not a whole lot of offense.
That's right.
Of help around them. And you mentioned they got a little more. They got Xavier Legette. They drafted him, traded up into the first round to get him. They got Jonathan Brooks, a running back out of Texas.
Big
to try
play guy.
If they're going to run the ball, you can pair him with
end, right?
Miles Sanders. Yeah, you got the Jatavion Sanders from Texas, the tight end. And you got a couple linemen, too, that should help out.
I think that's the big thing. The lineman is the big thing. It's just the fact that he's going to have a little peace of mind to go, wait, I got 2 hosses in front of me at the guard position and the tackle position. They were already good. Yeah. And then within this, hopefully, between Brooks and Chuba Hubbard, they can run the ball, right? Xavier Legette be a weapon, and they can find this way to run the ball, throw screens, boots, little quick play action passes, and slowly but surely get Bryce Young confident and feeling better and better about life in the NFL.
The guy leading the charge in Carolina. You know who that used to be?
Who's that?
Your number 33 ranked quarterback.
That's right. That's right. Good old Sammy Darnold for the Minnesota Vikings was with the San Francisco 49ers last year, right? Didn't play a ton, as we know. But the thing I will say about Sam Darnold is that he can still be a starting quarterback in the NFL. He still can, right? His problem now is just a little bit like we've talked with some other guys. He just got to get on a team that can support him a little bit and show what he's capable of doing. He's not been in that situation yet, right? It's shitville in Carolina when he was there. It was shitville in New York when he was with the Jets, right? Last year, he didn't get a chance to play a lot. But that there is starting caliber physical traits and talent with Sam Darnold. One, I think the first thing is it's one of the quicker releases in football, especially when it comes to short game or intermediate passing, right? A negative would be off of that quick release, for whatever reason, when he wants to throw the ball down the field, his mechanic changes a little bit and he lets his arm reach back for more instead of going, wait, no, your motion should always be the same. It should be like, now you're throwing it down the field a little bit more. You get your body more into it, instead of like reaching more for your arm. And that can lead to me, one of his negatives. And it's always been one of his negatives. And I see it again even last year with the preseason film and the snaps he got in the regular season is I always say he is A+ intermediate short game thrower. But it was always the 15+ throws that I was always like, he could be better there, right? His athleticism is kind of eye-popping in the sense of how quick his feet are, right? And he does run better than you think he does. I've almost fallen in that trap every year with Sam Darnold because as I say it or I write it down, I'm always like, I wrote this down last year. I wrote this down the year before. I can remember that, right? So that is the thing there where, he's fearless with those short to intermediate throws of putting it into a tight window. Like I said, with some of those deeper down the field throws, the ball starts to spray around a little bit, right? And, at times I think there can be doesn't see the field the greatest, and Sam Darnold can lock on to a guy, right? Or predetermine things at a time. But, man, I like Sam Darnold. And it's just one of those where, like, in a lot of ways, I want to make him higher, but I don't have enough evidence or to know if he's that. And, the other thing I'll say, just a little bit of a negative with him, is he doesn't have an infectious, hey, guys, follow me, I give something else to the team type of vibe, right? And I take that into account here. I do, right? Hey, if all things are equal with a quarterback, okay, and you're in an NFL locker room, and you're, coaching staff, whatever, they're going to go with the guy that they go, he raises everybody else. The huddle gets pumped when he's in there.
Who do the players want to follow?
The players want to, exactly, right. He gives our team some juice and all of that. And that's where another thing I would say with Sam Darnold that maybe, at times, is why he's not viewed as that alpha male. Oh, he's definitely the starting quarterback for our team. He'll run the whole organization, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Narrative on him is he's a former bust who sees ghosts, and I'm sure
Yes,
Sam will
that's
never
right.
wear a microphone. I don't know that he ever has after that moment got out. So he was 27th last year. He's 33 this year. No fault of his own. There are a lot of good quarterbacks who are new into the league this year. He has made the top 40 every year of his career for you. He peaked at 19 in 2021 before his first season with the Carolina Panthers.
Right.
And so the talent is there for him, who he is 26 years old. This is still the crazy thing about Sam Darnold. Every time I look at it, I was like, this doesn't make sense to me. He's 26 years old. You think about Michael Penix, right? 24. He might not play a game or start a game before he's 26 years old. And Sam Darnold has gone through an entire career arc of top pick, number 3 overall, to bust, to now a resurgent backup who maybe could be a low-end starter for a team.
He's got to be hurt right now. He's got to be hurt. Because I in a lot of ways, I was very excited to see him in Minnesota, right? Because this was one of those spots I'm talking about where I go, this team's good enough, this coach is good enough, where he might finally get to show, hey, look, I was worthy of this top pick or, being in the first round, whatever, right? But then they draft J.J. McCarthy, and...
You think it's over, though? You think Sam can't win that job?
I mean, I think he can, but I think, like I've said with these quarterbacks, I think they're NFL ready. I think he's NFL ready. I think he fits that system. They traded up to get him. He's a number 9 pick in the draft, right? I think he will have to have the proverbial shit down his leg to not be the starter, right?
Yeah.
You always say that, and I just steal your phrase.
It's just a great visual to picture in your head.
But yeah, we'll see. This is a place where if he gets in or J.J. McCarthy gets hurt or something like that, I go, watch out. I think Sam Darnold can open some eyes.
Well, they were pretty dangerous with, not that. Nick Mullins last year.
No doubt. He's better than anybody they had last year, not named Kirk Cousins. I'll say that. So, no, I'm excited to see if he does get that opportunity or whatever else. One more thing I'll just say with him, bouncing around the pocket, doing all of that, right? Again, another guy where I just go, I wish the power throws were a little bit better, right? And he is sometimes too quick to move, right? Where I go, just like the other guys. Like I feel kind of said with Bryce Young, but maybe not to that extent, but to the time again where, hey, guys only come open 20 or 25 yards down the field like a few times a game. Right? And there are times where it's like, I think he kind of sees it, but color flashes, and then he just goes and tries to move around and hop around the pocket. And I'm just like,
that was your chance.
That was your chance.
Opportunity.
You just gotta do it. I know you're a great athlete and you can make these plays off the backyard and do all that. Like that's what he's really good at. My question with Sam Darnold, going back to the draft, was can he make all the big throws in the pocket? I knew he could play backyard scramble, and I think he's quick to go to that sometimes.
Where has he gotten better since his Jets days? Like, where has he improved the most, or is it just a better situation?
I think it's the situation. I think I do feel like I saw the coaching of Shanahan took effect on him last year.
Sure.
He was so quick. What I first noticed when I went on, and right from the preseason games, was, damn, he's going through the field quick. Decisions, the feet are following the right way. He kind of knows what he's seeing. He's been taught to, hey, like, you see this, go here. You saw that, go there, right? And I felt like that's where he improved to me. Again, not a ton of clips, right? You got the Ravens game and the Rams game in the regular season, and then you got the preseason. And you got to see that. But I do think you got to see a guy that was a little bit more, let's say, sure of himself in the pocket of, like, here's my answers. I know where to go. Kyle beat this in my brain all week. I got it. And I think that's the difference I saw this year.
It's tough. It's tough for these old dudes, these 26-year-old old guys, because you got all these young quarterbacks coming into the league, like one that we have at number 32 in your top 40 countdown.
Oh, yeah. The man, the myth, the legend, Anthony Richardson, right? The specimen. They built him in a lab, this guy.
Is that legal?
He is like, he's a specimen for any position in football, but let alone, he's playing quarterback. And it's wowing to see, right? I mean, the first thing you say is the obvious. When you turn on the film, the presence of the human standing there is like, whoa, he looks a little different than the guys I've watched so far. Right?
6'4", 245 about.
Right, and easy. And it's like, whoa, he's got legs and shoulders and an ass, right? That are like, this is not a running back. I mean, this is not a quarterback. This looks like a tight end, something like that.
Is it a linebacker
stature? Or
here?
that too. I mean, exactly right. It could be that. And then, the headline would be like, this skill set is incredible. And because of that skill set alone, okay, just the skill set, forget whatever the you think he can or can't do on the field, defenses have to change the way they play just because of his skill set. And there's value in that. And that's where, hey, is he as good as quarterback as some of the other guys we've talked about already? No. But he does a few things on the football field that he gets the defense to change way more than any of these other guys, because you're going, wait, if they run quarterback power or the read option, he's going to run for 70 yards and a touchdown, right? Wait, if we play too aggressive and, get at the line of scrimmage and all that, he will throw a bomb 70 yards in the air, and we will be like, oh, no. Like, he will put fear into defensive coordinators' approach and their whole week because of the big play ability. Now, he's also going to make them feel good because they're going to go, he's not going to surgically destroy us right now. That's for sure. Like, we might have to worry about the big play, but I don't think we have to worry about him going 7 for 7 for 82 yards on a drive yet, right? And that's kind of the negative of where we are. We're in this transition of specimen athlete, right? Big arm, shows you that the traits are there to play quarterback, but we're getting from, athlete who plays quarterback to quarterback who's a good athlete.
Yeah.
And are we going to make that tradition? And listen, he's another one I wanted to put higher up. I want to go, wait, projection is year 2. I think he'll make the jump. There's so much great skills. But then I go, wait, he barely played in college. And when I watched the film from last year, even though there's some wow plays, there's a whole lot of whoa plays too. Like, whoa, what the hell is he looking at? Or whoa, what the hell is that throw? And that's where it's just, I can't stamp it quite yet. I'd like to see a little bit more.
There's uncertainty with him, for sure.
Right.
He's still super young. He turns 22 next Wednesday. It's crazy how young
Holy
he
crap.
is. He's still growing. He's still a growing boy, potentially.
Yeah, he seriously is.
Imagine that. But you mentioned it, at Florida, he really just started 1 year, his redshirt sophomore year, and it wasn't like he was slicing and dicing college teams up. He was 54% for the year, 9 interceptions, 17 touchdowns. He did have almost 700 yards as a runner and like 9 touchdowns, so that's what he can bring you. And I think Pete was mentioning this too. You hear his name a lot too in the fantasy football community, and I think that gives him a ton of love because any quarterback that is dynamic both with his arm and his legs is, and I think Matthew Berry, Pete said, he's a top 5 quarterback for him this year right now. Only played 4 games, though, last year. It's funny. We were talking about Bryce Young being the guy that's like, how can you stay healthy for a whole year? It's the guy that's 6'4", 245 that just played 4 games.
Yeah, there's some worry there. And just like Bryce Young, right, had to be incredibly managed last year and still, doesn't know little nuanced things about the quarterback position, right? I don't think he knows where to get the ball out when in trouble, or, oh, they're blitzing me, I'm supposed to go here. Or like there's stuff like that that's still new to him. Go ahead. What were you gonna say?
It seems like you're more optimistic, though, that he will get there than maybe some other quarterbacks in similar situations.
Right. Well, I think because, one, it's just him, the person, the physical ability, all of that.
Yeah.
Like there's some elite tangible skills that jump on to go, even though this other stuff may take a while, this other stuff is enough to lean on to kind of make it and buy him some time and continue to grow, where I'm like, okay, right? Like if we were doing this and he was in, okay, yeah, we got to change my offense a little bit because it's him, but it's still effective. Him running around for 8 yards or throwing the ball for 8 yards, I don't give a shit. We got 8 yards, right? So there's that, right? I think that's where his ability gives a little leeway there. But yeah, he still has to be managed, you know, and Shane Steichen is going to be perfect for him that way. But because of that, yeah, was their offense at its best last year? No, because they had training wheels on. And they knew in certain situations, hey, there was plays they could call with Gardner Minshew on 3rd and 7 that they were probably like, I don't know if we can call that one for Anthony Richardson, right? And, you know, you talked about some of the stats and all of that, right? He, at this point of his career, right, the ball can be a little bit all over the place. I mean, you could see 2 throws in a row and you go, is that the best throw in the NFL this week? And then you can see the next 4 throws and go, damn, he threw a screen into the dirt. He missed a crosser by 5 yards, right? And then he threw a completion where the guy had to like make a great catch, right? So it's a little everywhere there. He's a better down the field thrower right now than he is an intermediate or short thrower, right? You know, a lot of the times down the field throwing makes you mechanically throw the ball the right way, because to create the force and all that, you have to use your body and get your legs into it. And then sometimes with those short throws, you're just like, wait, he's right there. Let me just boom and use my arm and throw it. But it ends up being like, wait, your mechanics are all over the place, and now your arm got too loose and the ball's all over the place. So he is off target on that a lot because of that great athletic ability you alluded to in college and all that too. You know, he's way too quick to leave the pocket at times. I mean, way too quick. You're like, what? Dude, you're a Greek god, just stand in there for another second. But he knows what the damage he can do with his legs, so he's still working the kinks out of that in the NFL and getting used to that as well.
I went back and watched the Rams game because I'm a novice film watcher guy too now,
you know,
so I got to keep that trend going. And that one was not a great game for him, just 44% completion percentage in that game. They were down early, so I feel like that's not conducive to the way that he needed to play, or at least early in his career last year.
Right.
And you do notice that nothing is really in the pocket, in rhythm. Like there's nothing like
But even in that game, you saw a few throws where you're like, whoa,
for sure,
right? You know, yes, but yeah, it
shrugged off a guy and still threw a touchdown.
Right,
running
to the right, right. I mean, he does some of that stuff. That's just like, whoa, that's amazing. So to me, it's more about him just refining. Got to keep playing, right? He's gonna be managed this year. I know they're gonna have some bumpy offensive games because they're gonna get a defensive game plan or something that Steichen was like, oh no, you know, I didn't think they'd go this route, and they got a little advantage on us this day. And I think you'll have some ugly games, but I think we're gonna have some wow games here too. And you know, learning to play the position a little bit better and then protecting himself. That's going to be the biggest thing as we go forward here.
And he's got a new weapon. Your Texas guy, your Longhorn, Adonai Mitchell, and I think we have some video of them practicing together. This was just from yesterday.
Okay.
I think, do we have that in the back just so we can get? Okay, go look at this. He caught it.
Adonai's looking good.
Good. All right, here we go.
Look at that.
Good play action.
You see those legs, though? You got some legs, man.
Squaring up, getting the shoulder. How's the technique? How's the form?
It's pretty good.
Oh, tight spiral.
It is. He's a pretty good spiral thrower too. He is. You know, his mechanics are not bad as a thrower. They're not. You know, he's pretty good.
The greatest compliment any quarterback can hear. Your mechanics are not bad as a thrower.
Well, I mean, like, there's not a ton to work on. What I mean when like mechanics are clean and do that, he does a lot of good things. Right? He can be too reliant on his arm a little bit, because he's so strong and he has that, you know, that flexible arm we talk about all the time, to where, you know, he might not get the body, get the torque or the rotation of the upper body to throw the football, because he's just like, wait, I could just stand here and my arm can flick the ball 70 yards, so why not do that? But again, that's not going to make you the machine you need to be in the NFL to consistently hit bullseyes and do all of that. I mean, sky's the limit for this kid. It's just when does he get there? Does he get there? Can he stay healthy? I think that's the big thing. And, yeah, we just got to see him play some more ball.
So I didn't mention this beforehand, but all 4 of those quarterbacks were in one tier for you. And that
you
tier
didn't recognize that?
was named the young and the reckless. I recognized it. I just didn't mention it. The young and the reckless. So I guess the young would be literally Bryce Young.
Yes.
And then Anthony Richardson. And the reckless are Jameis Winston, don't throw it to the other team, and Sam Darnold, don't throw it to the other team. It fits perfectly.
It is a little bit. There's no doubt about that. Yeah. And I think there's a lot of things into that. They all have their own little nuance of why they're reckless and what they do there. But yeah, it's a good group here, and there is potential for this group to go. Wait, there's a little more talent here that maybe has not been tapped into yet that we haven't got to see. That they could rise up the ranks a little bit in a year.
We might not see the talent from your number 31 quarterback this year. We're still waiting to figure out what's going to happen here. 4 hire this tier. It's a one-man tier. This is a arm for hire in the NFL. Your 31 quarterback.
Ryan Tannehill, still a starting quarterback for the right team in the NFL. That's what I would say. This is still a starting NFL quarterback, right? If you're a Super Bowl team and you don't think you have a good backup, you should call Ryan Tannehill because you won't miss a beat, right? I look at it like I think about the New York Jets and I'm going, wait, Ryan Tannehill's out there and you went with Tyrod Taylor? Like, well, why? I don't understand that. Now, Tannehill, I don't know. Maybe he was waiting for the right situation, certain amount of money. I don't know what that is, right? Now, what I know about Ryan Tannehill is if he's got a system and a little talent around him, he can move the offense and play quarterback. He's at a part of his career and age right now where he can't do the above and beyond stuff as much anymore, right? He's not going to make a ton of plays with his legs. He is a little beat up, right? If people aren't open, and which they weren't a lot in Tennessee last year, especially early in the season when they were trying to figure out their offense. They couldn't run the ball. They were shitty as hell as protecting. He's not your guy that's going to make backyard plays like a Joe Burrow or some of the stars in the league right now, right? And just make it happen. That's not what he is. But you see, right, when he does have a little protection and there's somebody open just a little bit, he makes it happen every time. He does. It's just the other stuff that's not. So to me, if he got with the right team that can protect him a little bit in the system, I think he could really take advantage of it. And people would be like, whoa. I mean, Ryan Tannehill's good. Whoa, they're going to go to the playoffs with Ryan Tannehill. Yeah, I think he could still do that. But you put him on a C-plus team, he's not going to wow you because it's not going to be wow plays, wow throws, what a scramble, what a sidearm laser. He's carrying the squad. No, that's not what he is. He's not going to do that. He's not. But if you give him a few pieces, I think he can still be surgical. He's still a very good thrower of the football. He has incredible control and accuracy over the football still too. And if people are open down the field, I love his ability to throw the ball down the field. It's just that, when he was in this year, they weren't running the ball. They weren't protecting the ball. He got a little banged up. But he's not the kind of guy that's going to make a ton of plays, making people miss and still looking downfield and wow, nobody was open, but he bought 4 more seconds and threw a laser to DeAndre Hopkins. That's not who he is, right? He's a little bit more your traditional version of how we used to grow up and watch quarterback play.
So the narrative around Ryan Tannehill is, I think, he was always just an average quarterback who coasted off of Derrick Henry and play action passes. And that is Ryan Tannehill erasure because he was a former 8th overall pick.
Yep.
The only 2 quarterbacks taken before him were Andrew Luck and Robert Griffin III.
Right.
And last I checked, they're not playing anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, Ryan Tannehill might not be playing anymore, but he's still around. 6 years with Miami, last 5 with Tennessee. So I was looking at his years with Tennessee. I mean, first 3 seasons there, he was 30-13 as a starter. Now we know it's not all on the quarterback.
But we give everybody else credit with stuff like this. We're ready to move Brock Purdy to the top 3 quarterbacks in football because of his record. But for Tannehill, we weren't. And he gets shit on for some reason always. You go to the AFC Championship game. You go to the playoffs and win the AFC South the next year and lose a game to the Ravens and Lamar. Then next year, you're the number 1 seed. I mean, those 3 years in a row, right? I mean, and again, it's not like they were they weren't an offensive juggernaut like that. And I understand people questioning that.
Yeah.
But like we've always talked about, it's not that easy to play quarterback that way either.
2019, he led the league in quarterback rating, was the comeback player of the year, was a Pro Bowler. 2020, 33 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. I mean, the stat page jumps out at you. And he was so good that at one point in 2022, you tweeted, "It's 2022. Ryan Tannehill is a good quarterback."
The last time I tweeted during a game in my life.
So this is a joint collaboration between you and Pete.
Right.
Came together, and this was the playoff game.
Pete, he's my buddy, right? And Pete, Matt, Casey, they send out a lot of my tweets, right? As you know, I mean, they hear me say a thing or whatever. They go, "Hey, we're gonna," and they send me a screenshot, and I say, "Yes, that's what happened there." So I got to take some of the blame there, right? But what the context of it is, Cincinnati Bengals playoff game, right? He threw an interception early, right? And everybody jumped on him everywhere. You look at social media, he's the worst. And then there they were kind of coming back, and he got it going. And, I thought, like, okay, he's got it going. He's good. And Pete knows that I've kind of been a defender of him. So Pete's like, "How about I send this out?" And I said, "Yeah, send it out." Like, literally 4 plays later, interception, right? Like, another 5 minutes after that, interception again. They get upset by the Bengals and lose. It is all his fault. And we sent that tweet out during the game. So I learned my lesson there.
So Pete says that was literally the beginning of the end for Ryan Tannehill. It was like he never quite got back on track after that tweet was sent mid-game.
Yeah, that did it to him right there.
You still tweet in game, right?
I do. I guess
you're more careful. You're more careful.
Definitely more careful. Not going out on a limb like that. And hey, listen, part of where we are with Ryan Tannehill a little bit here too is, is because of the Tennessee Titans, right? Like 2022 wasn't that bad. It's just they weren't that good. They just got rid of A.J. Brown with one of the dumbest trades ever, okay? And he had no receivers. And again, they didn't protect that well either. And he's up there in age, so he got banged up. He got hurt, right? And this year, I feel bad for him because he got to play in all the games of we're still trying to figure out how we want to approach the year, right? And we can't quite figure out what we are on offense and how we're going to play and what we're going to do here. And then he got hurt, and Will Levis, we didn't expect a lot, and of course he exceeded expectations, and because he's young, he made a few plays running and throwing, and he has a big, strong arm, and he made a few of the plays where I go, Tannehill, when there's nothing there, he's not the greatest at that. Levis was like, no, I'll move and I'll throw this laser across there and get it in there, right? And he was capable of doing that, and that's why we haven't gotten to Will Levis here on the thing yet, because he's above Ryan Tannehill. Yeah. But, he got unlucky in that aspect of where they kind of started to come together right as he got hurt and started to play better football as a team, and then he got in later in the year, and hey, he had some. They should have beat the Seattle Seahawks late in the year, right? And then of course he finished strong against the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Turns 36 in July, and the last couple of years has been just weird turmoil a little bit, between
the team's been weird,
and
right?
The Rand Carthon,
exactly.
You don't know exactly
John Robinson
what's going on
was
there.
fired, the GM who traded away A.J. Brown, right? So it was all weird. There's no doubt about that, and I do think that was part of the. It certainly had some effect on Ryan Tannehill.
You think Jets would be should have been?
Yeah, let's look at that right now. Let me think about this here a little bit.
Where could he go?
Because a lot of these teams
get him
have.
A team.
Well, what you realize too is a lot of these teams have good backups, we talked about, right? I mean, it's too like like let's just throw it for instance out. You go, well, hey, the Bengals are in the Super Bowl window. Get him. Well, Jake Browning's pretty good. Jake Browning was on the short list of guys that I didn't put on the top 40 that I was like, damn, Jake's a pretty good player.
I know. Get him back to Miami. Back up Tua.
Well, I thought of that too. They have Mike White.
And they got Mike White.
I know. Now, I think he's better than Mike White. That's what I will say.
So we're not waiting for Mike White on this list. Yeah.
I mean, no, you're not going to get Mike White on this list. We've passed Mike White territory. I'm sorry. Let me just think. Is there anybody else here that really makes sense where I'd go, like Detroit, Jared Goff, I like Hendon Hooker, right? But damn, he's a rookie. He didn't even get to really practice the whole year last year because
you got a
ACL.
playoff team,
and you got a Super Bowl team. You guys are a Super Bowl team. Like get with the times. Give your team some respect.
I don't want to.
I mean that would be one that I would think at, right? Dallas is another one. Again, they're not in a bad spot. I know there's Trey Lance there. There's also, what the hell's his name? Came in as Cooper Rush. Thank you, Pete. Way to go. They have him, but of course, I think Tannehill is certainly a notch up from him.
Behind Justin Herbert is Easton Stick.
Ooh, that'd be another one. That'd make a lot of sense. Yes, sir. That's a good one by you right there, actually. That's a really good one. In fact, that might be, the best spot available. But, I mean, Ryan Tannehill's like the guys you've talked about like last week in the pod and all that. He doesn't want to just go somewhere. He wants to go somewhere. It was like, wait, if I do play, we're going to be good and win. And I've made enough money. I'm not trying to just stick around the league to be on some 2-15 football team, right? So, that's an interesting one. Is there anybody else we're missing here?
I'm sure.
I'm sure there is too.
But you're right. But the teams that have the young quarterbacks that just would roll with that aren't necessarily borderline playoff teams, they're not going to bring in Ryan Tannehill.
I don't think
Ryan
so.
might not want to go there.
He might not want to go there. Right. Exactly right. I look at the Bears, but they have Tyson Bagent. I think they're good. I don't know where this spot's going to be. This might be have to wait for a starter to go down type of thing.
He's
for
the
Ryan
Joe
Tannehill.
Flacco of 2024, perhaps.
He might be.
All right, so now the part of the podcast where you have been dreading the most. We have the...
This is stress.
What's my grip?
This is a bad group,
Section
as I told you before this show. Because they all grip the damn ball the same way for the most part.
So let's see it. They're all 2 and under 5, every single one of them.
I mean, it's pretty incredible, right?
Wow, good job, guys, back there. We have isolated just the hands and the football here. You can't even use context clues of the background or the shirt.
Well, like, the first thing I just want to say, all right, with the context clues here is it doesn't look in this picture that we got 3 black hands on here to throw the football. Okay, that's my first thing I'm a little concerned with here.
I disagree with you. I think ABC. I think
they are.
I think ABC.
Okay, B. Maybe. B is. Ooh, shit.
B looks like 2. Wait, B is 1. B is 1 and
1 and under 4.
Under
right?
4.
Yeah, it's 1 and under 4. The other one is 2 and oh my gosh. Let me see here. All right, so I'm going to say A is Anthony Richardson, right?
That's right.
Okay.
Correct.
A is Anthony Richardson.
Those are giant hands.
Yeah. Now, I think B is Jameis Winston. Is it C?
Yeah.
C is
Jameis Winston.
B is Bryce Young.
B is...
Yeah. Well, Jameis has small hands, too. That's where it was tough, right?
Those are smaller hands than I would have thought for Jameis Winston.
He's good. That was one of his knocks coming out. So B is Jameis Winston. B is Bryce Young. C is Jameis Winston, right? Damn, they're similar grips, though. Holy crapola!
I guess I don't remember Jameis having the glove on the offhand. I don't know. I don't know how often he does that.
He does, yeah. He does. He's been doing it for a while, and I should have remembered that.
Come on.
You're right. That was stupid of me. That was really stupid of me. Okay, now we get into Tannehill and Sam Darnold. And I believe E is Sam Darnold, right? E is Sam Darnold, and then D is Ryan Tannehill.
So 4 out of 5. I'm going to give you 4 out of 5 on that.
Thank you. But what's incredible is to the thing we talked about, right? Mm-hmm. The other day. This was a rare grip in the old days.
The 2 and under 5.
The 2 and under, or the 2 and under anything, right? Or just the 1 on. Like in the old days, this was rare. And now we're through 10 quarterbacks and what? Basically 9 of them?
Seems like it.
Right? Has anybody? We've had one person so far who had the pinky on the actual.
Yeah, we had Bryce here today that's 1 and under 4, it looks like. And I think we had at least 1 or 2 that were not 2 and under 5.
Well, yeah, week. But like we didn't even have one. Like I'm just talking about how many of the ones on Monday at least had the pinky on the lace, right? Right. In that way. And I don't know if we can go back to the Monday rankings there or Monday pictures there.
Now you're really taxing us.
I know.
You were right, by the way, about Bryce Young's hands bigger than Jameis Winston. So Bryce Young measured at 9 3/4.
Yeah.
Jameis Winston 9 3/8.
I think it's part of the reason Jameis, I think, throws the ball the way he does, right? One of the things that I love about Jameis is he keeps two hands on the ball all the time because he can't hold it with one hand comfortably. And I think that's part of the reason you see him like kind of sway into it, because a lot of other quarterbacks, they can just go like, wait, I'm taking away with the hand I'm gripping it with, right? And he kind of uses the other hand to swing into the motion that way. And I think the hand size is part of that. But yeah, here was the one from the other day, and look, out of the other day, the only one with their pinky on the lace was Kenny Pickett.
Yeah, Joe Flacco's close.
He's close,
there,
but it's still under.
No, you're right.
Right?
But it almost seems like that Pickett one, I'd like to see another one from Pickett too, because it almost seems like he might be readjusting his grip.
Right. Yeah,
right?
I know he does. And you know what? Let's see. I did look at it the other day after we got done, and he does put it is. I think he is readjusting there,
but
right?
he still
pinky
puts
laces
the pinky
guy. Puts the pinky on there. Exactly right. Right.
You know why I love this whole thing? Because this is like so on brand, and it's just like one of those weird things that you look at that now everyone else is looking at. Big Bad 016. Is the Kurt Warner grip normal? I've always been pretty good with a football. I once tried throwing with my pointer finger on the nose of the football, and it was an epic fail.
Yeah.
So Kurt Warner, I think we have a picture. Do we have a picture of that,
Kurt
Pete?
Warner had a little bit of like, he
Wow.
really put it up there. He has big hands. He has wide hands where he can really separate them, right?
Didn't John Elway have the finger on the point of the football?
Terry Bradshaw, okay. Right. Elway was two hands on the lace, 1 and 4, or 2 and 4, right? I got all the old guys remembered, right? Because I grew up and I used to be like, oh, John, I'm going to throw like John Elway in the backyard today and try this, right? I could never do this all the way. I know I was not a fan of putting the pointer finger on there. Now, with Kurt Warner, a little bit, big hands, whatever, hey, it's hard to argue the results. I also think sometimes, his arm wasn't that strong. Was he looking for that little extra, like, let me get a little oomph on there with that last finger? I don't know what
Guiding
it was.
It with your finger?
Yes, there used to be an old thought,
but
yeah, I was never like that, and certainly couldn't do it. And always felt like I could never throw a really good spiral when I put my finger way up there like that. And not to take a knock, Kurt Warner was not the greatest spiral thrower either off of that.
Good job in the back by Kristen, Gabby,
Way to go.
Morgan, Wyatt, Mackenzie, and Pete, who wants to clear his name on Kenny Pickett.
Yeah.
Okay, so we got another. Look at this. So
it's over. Good job. But
all over the laces.
I bet your back, Pete. I said it. He was like in the process of re-gripping in that other picture.
Two things can be true.
Still, they're both true. Right. This is it. And he's it looks like 1 and 4. 1 and purely on 4.
And he is the only one that we've seen so far with the pinky on the laces.
Far, out of where we are. Now, we're going to get into some more that do here. But this is by far the new grip of
2
NFL
and under
quarterbacks.
5.
Or 2 and under 4. One of them, right? Or 1 and under 4.
Yep.
But either way, pinky finger under, is my point, is a new thing in football.
Interesting.
That was like so rare back in the old days, and now we're seeing it everywhere.
All right, so let's get through a few of these homies react to the top 40. We got some tweets. I've got about 5 minutes before I got to get on a plane and go to Baltimore. Preakness Steaks weekend, by the way. Big weekend. So let's go with Steelers Outpost. Gardner Minshew versus Kenny Pickett is what Steelers Outpost wants to talk about. Psyched for this year's list, GOAT. He or she says, I've been making this comparison since before Pittsburgh drafted Kenny. They should have just signed Minshew and the Jorts. Minshew actually plays the quarterback position from the pocket. Kenny has been a one-read guy whose athleticism didn't translate to the NFL.
Yeah, I don't, disagree with what he's saying there. Minshew... Minshew's got a great knack for the position, right? And all of that. Now, I don't think, his physical skills are quite as good as Kenny Pickett's, right? That would be the thing I would say, right? But I do think Minshew has a little bit more of a knack of how to find a big play or do something or buy a little time and sidearm it here and, hit the guy running and he can make it that way. That he's definitely a little more savvy that way. Yeah, like I talked about with Kenny, it's a little too by the book. That's what my point was, right, the other day. When it's in rhythm and boom, bam, I throw it. But anytime it's not perfect in rhythm and just doesn't present itself in such a way that it's like, whoa, he's definitely open, I'm throwing it, right? There's a little bit of like what I talked about. Like, I wish you'd wait a second more there. Why did we go so quick to the underneath route? Why did we get off one so quick? He's about to pop open. Why did we go to two? Right? There's that aspect there that, he's not as good as Gardner Minshew.
Clee Brown 71 wants to know, how did Jacoby Brissett jump from out of the top 40 last year to 36 this year without hardly playing?
I know. Well, last year was hard. I think he was what? I mean, last year, I think he was like our 41 or 42, right? I was probably wrong to not have him in the list, right? The one thing I went back to, because with Jacoby, is a guy that I do go back to last year, right? Guys that I go, wait, they only had limited snaps this year or whatever else. That's great. But what I do go back to when I go back to last year, I go, I think I was too critical and I put too much on him for some of the games they might not have won that year and whatever else, instead of just going, wait, they weren't all that great. That wasn't the perfect situation. He does move well, and when people are open, he hits big throws, and I think maybe I docked him for some of the negative things that year, maybe a little too much.
And maybe some of the people who were borderline didn't really wow you either. And
that's what happens too. And I almost got to go back and look at last year's list and refresh my mind of some of my thoughts of why guys were where they were at the bottom of the list and what there's. I had a reason, I can tell you that, of why I had him just outside.
Limited time last year, Jacoby Brissett did nothing wrong. I mean, he
did nothing wrong. He did
perfect.
really right. I mean, the offense when he got in, you wanted to go, well, it looks better with Sam Howell. It's actually functioning at a higher level.
Yeah.
He's perfect for that situation. But yeah, he's been in this range and he is tough. And a year like 2 years ago, I might have missed him or misplaced him by a few spots.
One more question from Eric Draven. Where's Aidan O'Connell? So we mentioned on Monday that Aidan did not make the list.
Yep.
But maybe give Eric a couple more reasons why that is.
Well, I like Aidan. He's tough, right? He hangs in there, right? The throwing is just not up to par yet to where I can buy into it, right? He can play the position, right? But I'm just like, we're a guy where I go, I don't know if I really see starting quarterback there. He doesn't move very well, right? He's not going to make a lot of off-platform throws. He's kind of just like a, statue back there just making throws, but he does throw it well under pressure and do all that. But again, I think when you go back and look at him, you go, hey, yeah, there's a lot. There's throws missed. There's decisions missed. There's all of that. He was a rookie that was thrown into a tough spot. Yeah. It's not perfect. It was a good start. And again, as we said the other day, he was just off the list. He was with a short group of guys where when I went from 52 to, okay, let me try to cut it to 40, and I ended up being like 43 or 44, Aidan O'Connell's name was, one of those last 3 or 4 guys there.
He kind of feels like he's in the Max Jones-ish area of he could come in and be like, I think he's going to be able to come in and play pretty well right away, but I don't think he's going to get a whole lot better than where he is early on.
I think he came in mature and ready, and he was drafted to be a great backup. Yeah. That's what he was drafted to be, right? I just don't know if I see, starting caliber traits there for him, and I would be shocked if he won that job from Gardner Minshew.
Final thing, we got breaking news.
Whoop.
Off-season Hard Knocks this season will feature, take a guess, who do you think? So it's different this year.
I know, they have no rules anymore, right?
So no, what it's going to be is it's an inside look at the front office from January to July as they go through free agency and the draft. So I guess they've been doing it already.
All right, just give me a hint. Is the team, were they good last year?
No, they were not. They were not
very
good last
surprising
year.
Team.
They were not good last year.
New England.
Not New England, but you're in the right part of the country.
Buffalo.
Not Buffalo.
What else
You're
is
getting
up
farther
there?
away. You're getting farther.
New York.
New York Giants.
Wow.
We're going to get an inside look at your G-men.
Okay, I like that. So this is Hard Knocks off season. All right.
Yeah, Hard Knocks off season.
I didn't realize this was a thing this year. This is cool. Cool little thing. Yeah, I'll check it out, definitely.
So we're gonna get to see how much they liked maybe J.J. McCarthy and all that
Drake
stuff.
May. Yeah, right.
Oh yeah, or Drake May.
I might get disappointed watching that. I might be like, what are they thinking there? What are they doing? But okay, so we got, it's gonna be a big day. It's a big day. I mean, we got, not only that, we've had a little schedule release of some new games, and then today we got full schedule release tonight.
That's right.
Coming up. Right, we're doing an emergency pod tomorrow. Oh, where are you going to be? Oh, you're going to be at the Preakness. Thanks for leaving us again.
Sorry about that.
No, we're not really doing one.
Oh, okay. I would have listened though. I actually won't be here Monday, so you can say screw me to that.
What?
Yeah, sorry about that.
How long does it take to get from the 3-hour car drive to Baltimore
Don't
from
worry
here?
about it. Don't worry about it.
Okay. All right, we'll give you the day off. No problem, man. All right. Well, either way, you know where to find Ahmed Fareed on Saturday.
Yes.
NBC, whatever channel that is in your area, the Peacock app, whatever. It's for New York here in the New York area.
That's
so
right.
I'll have it on Channel 4 watching you, man. Excited for that. I'm glad the Derby winner's racing in it.
Oh, it's the best.
You got to have that,
Gotta
right?
have
The hope of the Triple Crown.
Yep.
And Mystic Dan, right? And then the horse that came in second that barely lost.
Sierra Leone. Sierra Young. Oh, Sierra Leone.
Sierra Leone.
Yeah.
It's racing in this one?
No.
It's
not.
not.
He is not. No. We do have Catching Freedom is back.
Okay.
Just Steel is back. We didn't finish as well in the Derby, but there are some Derby runners coming back.
Okay. All right, so that horse, what the hell was it? I just
Mystic
asked you.
Dan or
no,
Sierra Leone?
Sierra Leone.
Yeah.
So he's coming back for the Belmont. He's going to take the
Probably.
rest off
Belmont,
and then try to steal the
probably.
Belmont.
Yep.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. We
All
did
right.
learn that Muth, who is going to be the morning line favorite, probably won't run.
Wow.
Spiking a fever, scratched. So there's already some drama.
Drama is right.
So we got drama with the
All right.
Preakness.
Well, I want to see you run on top of the porta potties and everybody throw beers at your head, please.
Yeah, that
All
will.
right? Please do that.
It won't be
okay?
me, but that will happen to someone.
Yeah, I know it will. All right, everybody. You know where to find us. Keep sending the questions about the quarterback list. I appreciate the ones today. I think they were good. Good questions. And like I said, some of these guys I left off the list, it ain't easy. It really isn't. All right, you know where to find us. Subscribe, rate, review. Thanks for all the interaction. Monday, the countdown continues. Along with quarterback grips, even though you're not going to be here, we're going to continue the tradition, all right?
Give me
it was your idea.
2 and under 5.
We got to keep it going,
Give
all
me
right?
a 2 and under 5.
All right, everybody, be good. Have a good weekend. Enjoy yourselves. Be safe out there. Peace out, homies. Clap it up. Yo, what's up? Thanks for watching, homies. You know it's the off-season, but there's no off-season with Chris Sims Unbuttoned. It's the NFL. It goes all year around, all right? So hit subscribe, please, to hear my thoughts on your favorite team, your favorite quarterback, and, hey, how this season might unfold as we get ready for the 2024 season. We got a better picture, clearer look now that the draft is over, free agency. We know who's playing quarterback for certain teams. So, again, thanks for watching, and remember to subscribe. Peace out, homies. Check you out soon.